Day I lost two people at once. Narrated by me. I always believed betrayal came with warning signs, a change in tone, a sudden distance, a shift in habits. But when it was my turn to face it, betrayal arrived quietly, like a thief slipping in through a window I thought was locked. My name is Lee, and this is the story of how I lost my husband and my best friend in the same breath. Chapter 1. The Woman I Called a Sister. I met Nandi when we were both 16. She was loud, fearless, and loyal, more so, I believed. We survived high school heartbreaks together, shared secrets over sleepovers, and promised each other that no man would ever come between us. When I got married to my husband, Dave, she stood beside me wearing a bright smile, wiping my tears of joy. I never imagined she would one day be the reason I'd cry myself to sleep. To me, she was a sister. To my husband, she eventually became something else. Chapter 2. Cracks in the Perfect Picture. For years, my marriage felt stable. Sibusiso was loving, attentive, and warm. But slowly, cracks began to show. He started coming home late. His phone became glued to his hand. He argued over small things, things he used to laugh about. I kept telling myself it was work stress. I kept praying it was just a phase. Because when you love someone, you try to convince yourself that the pain you feel inside is just your imagination. But a woman's intuition is loud, and mine was screaming. Chapter 3. The Unexpected Clue. One night, Nandi came over unannounced, nothing unusual. She did that often. But this time, her makeup was slightly smudged, her hair messy, and her perfume. The same perfume I had smelled on Sibusiso's jacket 2 days before. I remember my heart skipping a beat. Something inside me whispered, "Look closer." Over the next few weeks, I noticed small things. She suddenly knew details about his work that I had never told her. She defended him every time I complained about his behavior. She avoided eye contact when his name came up. It was as if God was slowly lifting a veil. But nothing prepared me for the truth. Chapter 4. The Day My World Stopped. I found out on a rainy Thursday afternoon. I had forgotten my wallet at home and rushed back to fetch it. When I walked into the house, I heard laughter, his laughter, coming from the bedroom. At first, I thought he was on the phone, until I heard a woman's voice. A voice I knew, a voice that had comforted me, laughed with me, lived life beside me. Vandy. My heart dropped. My legs went weak. I stood frozen, listening to the sound of my husband and my best friend in the same room. The room where I once felt safe. I didn't burst in. I didn't scream. I quietly walked out, got into my car, and cried until my chest burned. Two people I loved had chosen each other behind my back. Chapter 5. Confrontation. That evening, I waited for them to finish whatever betrayal looked like behind closed doors. When Dave came home later, pretending nothing was wrong, I simply said, "How long have you and Andy been sleeping together?" He froze. His eyes widened, and in that moment, I didn't need an answer. The guilt on his face told me everything. He tried to deny it. Then he tried to blame me. Then he begged. But once respect dies, love cannot survive. Nandi didn't even have the courage to confront me. She sent me a long message, full of excuses, empty apologies, and explanations I didn't care to read. That day, I learned that sometimes the people you would die for are the same people who kill you silently. Chapter 6. Healing the Wound They Created. The weeks that followed were heavy. My home felt unfamiliar. My heart felt bruised. I kept asking myself where I went wrong. Was I not enough? Did I miss a sign? Was I too trusting? But healing began the moment I stopped blaming myself. I realized their betrayal was not a reflection of my worth. It was a reflection of their character.
You chose misère.
I chose peace. I chose to walk away from both of them. Losing them hurt, but losing myself would have hurt more. Chapter 7, Rising Again. Today, I stand stronger. I learned to laugh again. I found love in places I had forgotten, in family, in friends, in my own soul. Truth. People think the hardest part of betrayal is discovering the truth. But for me, the hardest part came after. The silence, the rebuilding, the lonely nights where I had to face myself and the pieces of my broken heart. This is the story of how I found myself again. The first morning alone. The first morning after I left my husband felt strange. I woke up in my sister's spare room, wrapped in a blanket that smelled nothing like home. My eyes were still swollen from crying, and my chest felt heavy. I remember staring at the ceiling and whispering, God, give me strength. I don't know what to do. But the truth is, I did know. I just didn't know if I had the courage to do it. I had to start again, rebuild a life without the two people I once loved most. The pain was still raw, but deep inside I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. The beginning of freedom. Learning to live without them. My days changed. My habits changed. My thoughts changed. No more constant anxiety, wondering where Sibusiso was. No more pretending things were fine. No more forcing myself to trust people who broke me. Instead, I started doing small things for myself. I journaled every night. I cooked meals I loved, not what someone else preferred. I prayed more, cried less, and slowly breathed deeper. It wasn't easy. Healing never is. But every day I felt a tiny piece of myself returning. The unexpected strength. One evening, about a month after everything happened, I looked in the mirror and saw something familiar, a spark in my eyes. It had been missing for years. That was the day I realized something important. They didn't break me. They simply pushed me back to myself. I became stronger, not because I wanted to, but because I had no choice. I learned to enjoy my own company. I learned to trust my instincts again. I learned that choosing myself was not selfish, it was survival. The return of my confidence. I started doing things I had put aside for years. I changed my hair, bought new clothes, went to places I always wanted to go, even if I went alone. I laughed loudly again, the kind of laugh that comes from the soul. And slowly, people noticed the change. My family saw it first, then my coworkers, then even strangers, complimenting my smile, my glow, my energy. For the first time in a long time, I felt beautiful. Not because someone told me, but because I believed it. The day I saw them again. The day I saw them again. Healing tested me the day I saw Sibusiso and Thandi together at a shopping mall. I froze for a second, not from sadness, but from disbelief at how ordinary they looked. There was no spark, no magic, nothing impressive. They saw me too.
And in their eyes.
And in their eyes I saw regret. Not because they missed me, but because they realized they lost someone who would have never betrayed them. Thandi looked away first. Sibusiso opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something, but I just smiled politely and walked past them. No anger, no hurt, just peace. That moment was my closure. Relearning what love should be. During my healing, I wrote myself a list of things I deserved. Loyalty, honesty, trust, tenderness, communication, respect. A partner who chooses me every day.